The American jury system is in dire need of change. All American citizens know about jury duty, and according to the Pew Research Center, over 67% of American citizens agree that it's an important part of our justice system. However, most citizens also agree that things about jury duty need to change. The most common complaints people have are the loss of money, lack of people's knowledge surrounding legal concepts, and the lack of community representation on juries. Starting off, probably the biggest reason people don't like jury duty and think things need to change is money. You have to take time off work and probably drive or pay for public transportation to an area that's not near your home or work. If you do get selected, some jobs will pay your salary for duty for up to 2 weeks, but usually, depending on the state, it's the state that pays you $15 to $45 a day for jury duty. But if you're working in a convenience store, a restaurant, an Uber, any other job that pays an hourly wage like most people do, it's the $15 to $45 a day doesn't come close to covering what you lose. So the majority of people are going to be out of money and it's going to hit hardest on the people who can least afford it. Piggybacking off that complaint, there's a lack of community representation on juries, and it's the communities of people who are less well off financially that can afford to participate in jury duty. The Constitution says that every citizen has a right to a trial by a jury of their peers, yet studies show that the racial or socioeconomic composition of juries are often not reflective of their communities or parties to the case. Similarly, many members of particular communities and interest groups, such as business entities or doctors' associations, believe that they also do not face juries of their peers. Studies, including the report of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court's Committee of Racial Gender Bias in the Justice System, corroborate that there is much underrepresentation of various segments of the community in many jury pools. Following those complaints are most people's lack of knowledge and ignorance surrounding legal concepts. Jury duty is literally nothing like Law and Order or most other crime TV shows, where there you're only focusing on the meat of legal issues. Laws are actually extremely specific and technical. For example, if you're caught carrying X grams of Y drug with Z surrounding circumstances, that is a completely different crime if you're carrying P grams of Q drug with R surrounding circumstances. For each broad category of crime, there are dozens of laws with hundreds of clauses and definitions. As a juror, you'll be instructed on all the relevant laws in excruciating legal detail. Much of the prosecutor's argument will focus not on the interesting innocent issues of innocence and guilt, but rather on the specific technical aspects of the law. The prosecutor also has to present evidence and make his or her case in a very methodical way. So there will be hours of evidence being entered onto the record, which in the end is very boring and also hard to understand because all of it will be presented in hard to understand legal terms or legalese. There are also some judges that just don't allow jurors to take notes. So, if there are concepts that jurors want to try and understand or details of the case that they want to remember, they just have to try and remember it themselves. And if they have that question, they have to wait for an opportunity to ask somebody who might know. All of these problems cause juries to be much less effective in deciding true innocence or guilt. Most potential jurors will try any excuse to get out of jury duty, and even if in the end they do get selected, some will just rush to a decision just to get it all over with so they can be done with it and go home. All of these things are why things need to change. Luckily, there are common solutions that can realistically be implemented by states. First off, on the county level, there should be efforts to minimize costs to jurors by providing reduced parking, daycare, and reimbursing transportation. There should also be legislation requiring employers of a certain size to pay their employees their regular wages for the time spent on jury duty. However, of course, if an employer realistically can't afford to do that, states should, in the end, increase juror compensation so that citizens will find it easier to serve, ensuring that jury pools reflect the diversity of the communities which they are drawn from. Secondly, peremptory challenges should be eliminated. Peremptory challenges allow lawyers to pick and choose and manipulate demographics and chisel an unrepresentative panel. And peremptory challenges allow prosecutors and defense attorneys to choose which jurors they don't like and drop them from the jury for no valid reason other than they don't like them and don't want them to be on the jury. Finally, online seminars and lessons should be provided for jurors before being chosen. So that way every juror knows what they're getting into and will come into the jury with a basic understanding of legal issues. Jurors should also be provided standard plain language jury instructions. So instead of those difficult legal terms that most people don't understand, somebody should be on standby to translate those terms for them. Also, jurors should have support staff. For example, what I had just said, jurors should have somebody translate those legal terms so that way they know, or somebody that jurors can ask questions for legal situations so that way they can make their deliberations easier. All of these I feel like are easier things to change so that way we don't have those problems. Thank you.